Well, here we are in Stroud at the invitation of the Cotswold Canals Trust to see how they're getting on with the restoration of the Stroudwater Canal section.
And one of the volunteers has invited us to come along with him, and he's taken us, well, he's arranged a boat trip for us, first of all, along one of the restored sections, and then he's kindly going to take us on a little tour of some of the bits that are not so restored.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
It's going to be interesting for us. We know nothing about the project particularly, so come along and let's see what's going on. We're on the edge of the beautiful Cotswolds in Gloucestershire, and we'll be concentrating today on the restoration from Seoul Junction to Stroud.
This is David Jowett, and he is a volunteer for the Cotswold Canals Trust, who are restoring this canal, and he's taken us out on a little bit of a tour of some of the restored sections, and I think maybe some unrestored sections too.
Yep.
So could you just tell us a little bit about what's happening, what you're doing and what's going on?
Well, at the minute we're on the section that's been restored already, and it's just been maintained now, because every time you restore a canal you have to keep it maintained. This was opened by what was then Prince Charles in 2018. So it's done and dusted, except we're on top of the maintenance now. We now have moved on, and when I say we, that's the Cotswold Canals Partnership, to restore the section that's done from Stonehouse back to the Gloucester Sharpness Canal down at Seoul Junction.
Yeah. And that's where we are now. So that's what, 8 miles, 10 miles?
Yeah, from Seoul to Stroud, where we just set off from, that's 7 miles.
Yeah.
There's another mile back to the River Severn that we're not going to restore.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to go on the River Severn.
Yeah. So what's the history? The canal is really old, obviously. When was it first built and opened?
Yeah, it was first mooted in 1730. So the company that still exists was formed in 1730, but the canal, the Stroudwater Canal, was opened in 1779. Then, as a separate entity, but with some of the same people involved, they decided, let's go all the way to the River Thames at 28 miles. That wasn't quite as successful as the Stroudwater, but that opened only 10 years later, in 1789.
So if it all opens up all the way down to Lechlade, that's going to be amazing, isn't it? So you could do a whole ring then, which I think they're going to call the Cotswold Ring when it's open.
We've named it the Cotswold Ring. The Canal Trust has named it the Cotswold Ring many years ago. And obviously we'd like to see that come to fruition.
So it's really, really lovely now, but obviously it was just like muddy ditches or anything. Who and why did somebody decide to restore it?
Well, the canal was abandoned in 1954 finally, and it took until 1972 for a canal society to come together. They organised a meeting for a few people, and 350 turned up. So a society was formed, went really slowly restoring, because it's mainly people working, just did it at the weekends, and then gradually gathered pace, and then into the 2000s, and other groups came on board, the councils, British Waterways then, now the Canal and River Trust, and a funding package was got, including from the National Lottery Fund at the time. They've changed their name now, and that was in 2006, so that's when the real big restoration started.
But you were saying that it's nearly all the work is done by volunteers?
The day-to-day work, they can restore locks. When you come to going through a railway bridge, they can't do that.
No.
There are some huge obstacles to overcome, like this award-winning project at the roundabout on the A38 near Whitminster.
This is what we call the Capel Mill restoration. The canal was infilled here as late as 1987 to put a road through, a new bypass, but a bridge was put under the road for us to help. As part of the lottery funding and the general funding for Phase 1A, where we are now, this convoluted route was found through the blockage, and to to the right here you've got an old rubbish tip from the 1960s, which is why it's all bound by these piles. And to the left you've got the River Frome, and ahead you've got the mainline railway, Great Western Railway, which was a Brunel viaduct, and that had to be got round as well. So it was all done, you can see.
Obviously you've got the funding from the partner organisations that put into this, but do you get a lot of private donations as well?
Yeah, yes we do. Yeah, the big money obviously comes from big organisations. What we find works quite well is if you have an appeal for a particular project,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and that tends to attract
Yeah,
more private donations.
yeah.
I mean, generally we've got a membership of around 7,000, and for day to day, then that obviously brings us an income.
Yeah.
But yeah, having a particular project to focus on, people are more inclined to give for that.
Yeah.
And legacies as well. There's a lock on the section we're working on at the minute, which has been renamed from Westfield Lock to John Robinson Lock, because there was a legacy there that's paying for that.
Well, I've noticed that there's Pike Bridge and Pike Lock that way, I think.
The other way.
Is it that way? I've got a bit confused.
Yeah.
But I will put it on camera, and Rich agrees. If we do win the premium bonds next week, we will officially adopt Pike Lock and Pike Bridge. Is that right?
Make it our own.
Yeah. And we'll put a link somewhere on this video that if you feel that you can contribute, because it is just stunning. It is just really stunning.
And there's lots more to see.
Yeah. So where have you brought us to now?
We're here outside Stroud Brewery, canal side business that is at the end of the present navigation of the section that we've restored already, phase 1A. And this is a place called Thrupp. Opposite here you can see where there's going to be a winding hole. So that's how you're going to come up the canal, turn round. We've got moorings here as well that have been created. We're about 2 miles from Stroud here, that's all. So, and between here and Stroud you've got 3 locks, but this is where you're going to be able to turn in future.
A moor up and go to the brewery.
Go to the brewery, yeah.
Sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
And they do have a big bar, yeah.
When open, this canal is surely going to be one of the most popular destinations for boaters. Here we are at the gorgeous stone house just below the Cotswold edge.
We're now in a beautiful place called Stonehouse, really picturesque setting, and there's a brand new bridge behind us. So tell us about this one.
Well, it's one of the smaller things that's had to be restored. This was done by contractors, but there's preparation work by volunteers. Done about 7 years ago, something like that. There is a track that is used. There's actually sewage works down the lane here.
Right.
So it has to be a sort of full loading bridge.
Oh, okay.
So it is a swing bridge, which is presently operated by windlass, but it will be operated by electrical mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah.
in due course.
Yeah. Okay. Another thing to do.
Yeah.
But this was one of the projects that was built. This was started by volunteers or prepared by volunteers.
Quite often the volunteers come in first and clear an area first for the sort of survey to see what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Some jobs contractors need to do, and this is one of them. But the canal here has been dredged by volunteers
Oh, it's
recently.
amazing.
Yeah.
There's a poster up at the Visitor Centre of an A to Z of what the volunteers can do, and there's nothing that is not needed. So,
Absolutely.
bookshop assistant, I've noticed. Just saying.
And visitor centres and boat
Yeah.
crew and etc.
Boat crew.
Yeah.
There we go. This looks like too big a project to ever be done by volunteers.
I think there's some preliminary work done by volunteers, clearing the site so that the surveyors could come in, take test borings to see what was underneath, because this used to be just an embankment. It was a railway bridge back in the day, but then in the 60s it was filled in. So just an embankment with a small tube through to let the water through, because there's a slight flow on this canal where
Right.
streams come in. But back in 2021, Christmas, 150 people from Network Rail came in and they installed what you see now, the bridge that's here. Before that, the sections of concrete are so big, they had to be cast on site. So for 6 months beforehand, they were all stacked on end, looked like Stonehenge a bit.
Oh, right.
And it became a little bit of a tourist attraction itself. But back at Christmas 2021, this was all done in 7 days, start to finish.
7 days.
3 shifts of 50 people at a time. And they stayed at
Wow.
the nearby Stonehouse Hotel.
Yeah.
So they were on site pretty much. And they got the job done on time. The track opened when it should have done. No extended
Amazing.
delays. Everybody was happy. Yeah, so from here it's just under 4 miles, sorry, to Saul Junction, and from here round the corner you've got a lift bridge needs fixing. You've then got 5 locks, most of which are restored already, and then you get into the missing mile, and then that takes you to a section of the canal that's still there but needs dredging, and then you're at Saul Junction.
Welcome to the ocean. It looks like a lake. Is it natural, people ask? Or did someone make this expanse of water that you can now hear sing?
We're just on our way to our last location, and we've come across a whole group of volunteers who are being guided, managed, controlled by John. So what are they doing?
They are building a linking path. We'd built this part of the path ages ago, and whilst we worked on the lock itself, Blunder Lock here, we left the path to link one end to the other. So we're just doing the connecting bit. We're doing the same up at Newtown Lock, next lock up, which is where the other half of my team are. This is only half the gang. They're putting some more of the topping down, and Norman there, as you can see, is compacting it. That's the final surface to give us this quite nice path. Our remit with the lottery people, the Heritage Lottery Fund, is to create a multi-user trail, so that it's not just a narrow path that's only suitable for people walking in sort of hiking boots, but it's suitable for people on a mobility scooter, in a wheelchair, pushing a pushchair, whatever, kiddies out on their first bike ride.
Yeah.
So it's between 1.8 and 2 meters wide. These guys are well versed at doing that sort of thing. We've probably built about 14 kilometers of improved towpath.
We are so in awe of the work that has been done, the work that is being done, and their can-do attitude to everything that needs to be done. Everyone is so driven, they are determined to see this project through.
We're at the bottom of a flight of 5 locks here. We've got 2 locks restored at the top, 1 half restored, 1 about to be restored, and then at the bottom here, one that is under restoration, and you can see the scaffolding there in the middle of the lock. What we've got on our left here is a section of canal that was dammed off in 1995 because we used to lose all the water into the brook that we're standing on top of. The brook will remain, but we're going to have to build an aqueduct across from the existing canal to where the lock is, and that will be done by volunteers. I believe it's going to be big pipes and then filled in around the pipe, so not as difficult as it sounds. And then the other side of the bridge by the lock here is the start of the missing mile, and we'll be starting that next year because we have full planning permission to go ahead with that restoration.
But you can't see the scope of it. We've got mud and hedges and everything, a stream underneath our feet. And by next December, hopefully,
December 2025, yeah,
that lock will be working.
definitely.
And this will all be a beautiful wildlife surrounded canal. And that's amazing, isn't it?
We think so,
Absolutely
yeah.
amazing.
We think so.
Ahead is the missing mile, where the canal no longer exists due to modern transport infrastructure. A way has been found to dig a new route through the landscape, going under the M5 motorway and sharing the route with the River Frome, continuing across the landscape to the A38, where the canal will rejoin the old route to Saul Junction.
So it's been brilliant. Thank you so much for today. And
Thanks, David.
thank you, David. And thank you to all the people that we've spoken to, the volunteers that we've seen. It's just been an amazing day. It really has, hasn't it?
Fabulous.
And we've learnt so much. It's so interesting. And we want to be back when it all opens up properly.
Fine. Here's
Don't
your
we?
invite. Here's your invite.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you.
Well, what a fantastic day that was with David. Thanks very much to David and also everybody at the Cotswold Canals Trust. What a day we had.
Yeah, lovely people. And to give us their time and to arrange that boat trip was fab, wasn't it?
It was good. I didn't realise what an enormous project it is.
Oh, no.
Just absolutely amazing what they're doing there.
And when it's done, I mean, it's going to be open up that whole canal, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's going to be a whole ring that you can do. It's just going to be wonderful.
To be able to travel through the Cotswolds on a canal is going to be one of the best, I think, canal journeys in the country, don't you? Absolutely stunning.
And to get down to Lechlade and all around back onto the Thames, it'll just be absolutely wonderful. So fingers crossed it happens.
Well, I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
But
In
anyway,
our time.
In our
In our
time.
time.
But anyway, if you're interested, please go to their website, have a look. You could become a member if you like. You get one of these lovely magazines every quarter, and you'll know that your money's going to a really good cause.
And I think somebody might have signed up as a volunteer, haven't they?
I have, yeah, for what it's worth, for the length we're going to be on this canal. I thought, well, maybe we should do a bit of volunteering.
Yeah.
So we'll see what's what.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you soon.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to see our videos early without adverts and also get regular blogs from Fran, please consider becoming a member through Patreon or buy me a coffee. Thank you very much. See you next time.